what's really exciting about today is this is not a theoretical session. We are going to go hands-on and show you some marketing material. Everybody in this session has got instant access to everything I talk about. So when I start talking about these brochures and videos and everything else, you've all got access to this to use in your practice as long as you are a member of the Institute. So we're going to talk practically. Let's talk about Fred. Fred is a new start advisor, and he's come to us and he said, Pete, I want to set up an advisory practice. And now Fred could be an accountant or bookkeeper adding advisory services, or Fred could be an ex-senior manager of a business, an ex-business owner, just setting up an advisory practice, or indeed it could be someone looking to transition to retirement and looking for some extra income. So, but Fred is setting up an advisory practice, no matter who Fred is. And Fred's just joined the Institute of Advisors. We sat down and I've had a chat with Fred. I said, Fred, let's have a look at your marketing. Let's really get you accelerated into this advisory. Let's help you to achieve what you want to achieve out of the practice. So the first thing I'm going to do is sort of say to Fred, look, we're going to do a couple of things here. We've got to, first of all, set your goals. You need to know what you want to achieve. You can't achieve anything in life unless you've got a goal. So the first thing is you've got to clearly and articulate what your goal is, how many hours you want to work, etc. And we'll show you that in a second. The second thing is to define your business model. So let's set your goal about your earnings or the amount of time you want to spend in advisory. Then let's have a look at a successful business model and have a look at how we can deploy that business model to meet your goals. And then, hey, then we do the fun stuff. Then we start marketing and commercializing your offer. Now, the one thing to find about in advisory, and the one thing that we should really emphasize in advisory, is there's nowhere to hide. If you're an advisor, you will be judged on your credibility. So everything is about you having the ability to win trust and to win that, to focus on building that credibility with the client. The first thing we're going to sort of do is, look, sit down, and I've said to Fred, in the resource pack, we have a practice development plan. So what I want you to do is go through that practice development plan, which is really doing a business plan for your practice. And we're going to have a look at things like, what is the vision of the business? What motivated you to get into advisory? What's your primary goal? We're going to get you to talk about your roadmap, the speed to launch, what's your budget? Do you have enough cash to fund the business? It's really essential and this is prior to getting into the marketing, that we really have a look, because marketing is, and we're going to talk about all the marketing resources like videos and brochures and that you can use, and we're going to show you examples, but marketing in an advisory world is also about you and your confidence. But we need to have a look at what your blockages are. So part of our marketing plan boils down to a personal development plan for you as well. So we want Fred to go through and really have a look at all of this, have a look at, what his elevator pitch is, where he's going to specialize, have a look at what the competitors are doing. So who's close to him in either an accounting practice or an advisory practice, what are they doing and how they're doing it? So we'll get Fred to go through this document, and that document is in the resource pack, and it's going to go through a very thorough analysis, right up to that developing of your basic practice material. There's also another document in there, which is your personal advisory, personal development guide, which looks at your emotional intelligence, and it looks at really rounding out some of your personal skills. So the first step is planning. Let's get Fred to start planning. Then from the plan, let's start to look at a business model. And when I sit down with Fred and I sort of say, look, if you look at the average advisory practice, it's sort of, and we want to have a practice that's not charging on an hourly rate, but it's not a start to finish assignment. The business model is probably going to look similar for most advisory practices out there if they're leaning on almost a best practice development. And the starting point of that advisory practice is going to be that client discovery or health check. Now, why is that important? That's normally an unpaid function of advisory. That's where you have a conversation with the client. You go through and find out what the pain points are, what's holding the client back, where do they want to take the business, and why they need your help. Then phase two, which is where we start to charge in an advisory practice, is really about developing a roadmap. Or you said you had those blocks. This is possibly how we could unblock. You've said you wanted to get to this level. This is a roadmap, or let's develop a roadmap, a strategic plan to help you to get to that level. So phase two is really about that roadmap and moving forward, that problem solving, that's unblocking the client. And then phase three is, the number one reason for failure of clients around the world, business owners around the world, is lack of strategy execution. So phase three is really working with the client month by month to help the client achieve their goals. Now, why is that good for an advisor? And that's what we explained to Fred right from the beginning. But it's good for you as an advisor, Fred, because that means recurring revenue for your practice. And the average advisor is probably charging somewhere between 850 and 2.5K. Larger businesses, 5K a month for that monthly sort of meeting or whatever we call that. And that's what we're going to get to at the next phase. So first thing is to have a clear understanding of what our business model is. Now we're going to start to get to the nitty gritty and say, okay, Fred, let's look at your website. You know what your goals are. You've examined what your background is. Now let's start utilizing some of the resources that we've got at the Institute to help you to look credible. So the first thing I'm going to say is on your website, and all advisors should have it on their website, you're going to need to put what your services are. Right? So there should be a clear articulation on your website of your services. And the first thing that we might sort of want to put there is business coaching and advisory. Now, it's interesting, I'm using the word business coaching. I'm using the word business coaching because it softens advisory. So we're talking about marketing. I'll just give you my view of marketing over the years, over the last 30 years of building practices and working with people. If I'm dealing with larger businesses, I might use business consulting and advisory. If I'm dealing with smaller businesses, I prefer to use business coaching and advisory. So that's just my take on softening words rather than using business advisory by itself. Sometimes business coaching is a bit softer way to go through it. Do I like business coaching by itself? No, I don't, because I think that name's been sullied a bit. Do I like using words in combination? Yes, I do. Am I getting into definitions and academic definitions with this group at the moment? No, I'm just talking about marketing and what I find sort of seems to work. So I'll use something like business coaching and advisory and find it. And then what we want to do is I'm going to show you how we pad all this out into brochures and videos and everything else in a second. But the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Fred and I'm going to say, look, there's a huge opportunity in the marketplace at the moment for, thousands and thousands of business owners are reaching their end of life of business, not end of life physically, but they've been working in a business for many years and they want to get out and they're trapped. They don't know how to get out. So I'm going to suggest that there's a huge opportunity. These baby boomer business owners are trapped. There's people that have been in businesses, they, can't see the end. Why don't you work with them on an exit and succession plan? So under services, you might put business coaching and advisory, and then you might have a look at the opportunity that you can explore. And our resource packs and courses all focus on that opportunity as a potential source of revenue for your advisory practice. And then the third thing I'm going to say is that, and I know when I was setting up an advisory practice, the goal is that, and just think about it, but if I say to somebody, and I'm trying not to charge on an hourly rate, so I want to move into that monthly recurring revenue. Now, if I say to a client, look, here's your plan, but you're not going to implement it. Let's get together every month and talk about it. I'm going to have a monthly review meeting. Now, unfortunately, when I say monthly review meeting, it's inferring me and you together in an engagement. And if I say it's going to cost you $2,500 for that hour or 2 hours, it sounds expensive. Wow, why would I pay you that much? So sometimes we want to set up almost a cooler way of talking about things and set up a little bit more sophistication in what we're offering. So we talk about in the Institute about maybe setting up what's called an advisory board, which is really a monthly review meeting, but it sounds probably a lot more upmarket. Does the language of an advisory board work with a $500,000 business? No, probably not. Does it work with $1 million business? Probably not. But when you get to that slightly larger businesses or certain industries, the word advisory board sounds good, sounds impressive, and it's also something you can bill more for. So it's sort of about increasing your charge rate. So we go through a lot of marketing and that in the advisory board, and I'll show you how that fits into here. So the first thing is we're going to articulate our services. Then the next thing we're going to do is, I said to Fred, well, look, you've got your services listed on your website. Now we need to add some credibility to that. So what credibility can we add? Well, in the packs, you'll find that we've got these videos. And this is one of those videos. So this is the IOA 8-step model. Now, one of the things that we've learned as we build, and you can put this on your website. So what this has done is, what we've learned over the years is that when we're talking about credibility of service offerings, if we can have a 7-step program or a 6-step profit improvement program, it sort of works well. So what we decided to do was to create some videos about what you can launch. So as part of our IOA Institute of Advisors methodology, we have a whole lot of preconceived profit improvement plans, etc. And we back that up with videos, which you can put on your website. So when and we sort of got this tagline that we're trying to push that gives you instant credibility. So you're part of this international group of advisors, and you're part of the methodology. Our methodologies and processes have been used in 60,000 businesses around the world. So we're trying to get you to leverage off that credibility. Right? Now, if we go to the exit and succession, so in your website, you'd have something like business coaching and advisory. And then you might put this as a video. When we go to exit and succession, similar sort of thing. What we've got here is a video, but in this case, it's all about that exiting a business. And what we do is we're trying to hit the key areas that are going to interest your client. So what a video does is it emphasizes the main points when somebody comes to your website. It gives you credibility, and it gives you, if you like, a pathway forward to start a conversation. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give you tools that add to your credibility. The other thing, if you're a new start advisor, what we say to Fred is, look at the words on this video. Yeah, look at these, the words that we're trying to put across, and see if you can articulate them. How much is your business worth now? What could it be worth in the future? These are the sorts of language and the questions that we might ask. I'm going to talk about this in a sec. We've got calls to actions in the videos as well. So the first thing is that we want to drive people to our website, and we'll talk about that as well as we go forward. So this is about advisory boards. This is equally the same for monthly review meetings. So we'll create a second one of these for monthly review meetings, which should be out in the next week to 2 weeks as well. But you'll see the questions that we're asking. It is, ask yourself this: is lining at the top, strategies don't get implemented. Staff are not held accountable. You have no external expertise to draw upon. You have no one to brainstorm with. Then you would benefit from an advisory board. Now, equally, that video could be about a monthly review meeting. So we'll be substituting the word monthly review for advisory board to create a video if you're marketing yourself and not using the word advisory board. The whole idea is that these are all targeting, the last 20, 30 years, there are certain things that are trigger points. There are certain emotional things. There are certain phrases that we use that are really, really good at convincing business owners to move to the next level forward. But one of the things I always say to advisors is, in your marketing, every time you give a session, like whenever I gave a session to an industry group, I'd always start off, and probably because I am, is that I'm passionate about this industry. I'm passionate about moving this industry forward. And the really nice part about this is sometimes you've got to win the hearts of your client, and you've got to show them that you really get what they're going through. So I created this video. Have a look at this video. If you haven't seen it already, the music in this video is really, really inspiring. And this talks about, business owners, you have the courage to go after your dreams and never regret doing so. Some people dream of success, whilst business owners wake up and make it happen. So this is really appealing to business owners, that you understand what they're going through, that you understand their journey. And, I think this is really, really powerful to put on. You can use this in marketing, you use it in social media, you can put it on your website, but it shows that you appeal. And the credibility banner at the end of this is that you are part of an international group, an international sort of organization. Now we need to go to the next level. So what I'll say to Fred is that, when you've got a website, and you saw a little bit of it on that exit video, is that you need to have what's called a CTA, which is a call to action. And what is a call to action? It's a way of getting somebody to leave their details with you, their name and address. So it's all right to have 1,000 visitors a month come to your website, but if you don't capture any of them into a lead, then you never know. If you're playing golf with somebody and you're talking about, hey, we specialize in exit planning, you ought to come and have a look at my, have a look at my website, maybe get in contact with us. If they come to your website, yes, it's a credibility enhancer, but it's going to be so much easier if you know they've been to your website, if they leave their name and details, and you can set up a conversation with them. So the way we have CTAs, or calls to action, is by offering free quizzes, free workbooks, free challenges. And what we've developed here, if you look at exit and succession for an example, we've got a free business value report. And the free business value report, this is a graphic that's in our resource pack that you can put straight on your website. It's a transparent graphic. You can have it transparent or white background or whatever, and you put it on your website. And the whole idea is, click on this button, and you'll receive a free business value report. So then what we did was we then created, now these assessments as well, this is what we call a business attractiveness score, which is how attractive your business is to a potential buyer of the business. And it goes through and asks for you to rate yourself and then gives you a score at the end. Now, these assessments can be automated. So for those of you that have got something like the mouse technology, MAUS, then these assessments can be automated so that they're automatic scorers, and you can also put them on the front end of your website so the user can self-score. But just in our resource packs, you've got access to this questionnaire, and you've also got access to the call to action images that you can put on your website. How would you use that? You can either grab the lead and send it to somebody, or you can grab the lead, send it to somebody, give them a call and say, how about I step through this process with you? Or grab the lead and just give them a call and say, look, you're interested in this. I'm going to be in your area. How about I drop it off? It all depends on whether an A, B, or C client. In other words, if you can identify that that lead is really important and a good prospect, then you're more likely to spend time up front, free of charge, just trying to impress the prospect and try and move them to the next level. So once again, they're all, if you're playing golf in a church group, a school group, or whatever you're doing, then if you're talking to people about, hey, I specialize in helping business owners to build the value of their business and exit, hey, by the way, we have a free report. We have a report that we provide to clients. Look, you're in this group with me. You're part of this network. Why don't I give it to you for free? Why don't you give me your card and I'll just send it off to you? Why don't we sit down and have a cup of coffee? And I'll show you the process we go through. And I won't charge you for that because you're part of this community that I'm part of. So we leverage these reports. We talk about how special the reports are. And the whole idea is to get a face-to-face, to build that commitment, to show them the pathway forward, and to also emphasize, as you go through this, you're emphasizing how credible you are as a potential advisor. We've got the same sort of thing on the business health. So for those that have been through our courses, been through our training, then the business health, find your business health score, is really that client discovery. Once again, this can be automated with technology. The same methodology is inside the mouse technology, but utilizing manual, we've got this business growth workbook. And as part of the business growth workbook, we've got this client discovery. Now, these workbooks are all in the resource pack, which you can all access at the end of this webinar to set up your program. Now, why is this important? This is, if you like, your meeting you have with a client, and this sort of talks you through about pain points, what questions to ask your client, how to really get them to think about a return on investment proposition of signing up to you as an advisor. But it also has this nice business scan, and that gives you an ability to run an assessment and give them a score. I learned right in the very beginning when I was trying to build my practice, and I built a couple of successful practices over the years, built national networks, is that if you can do an assessment and give someone a score, then that works psychologically because you're benchmarking where they are at the moment. And then it's very easy to say, well, look, you scored 64%. Best practice organizations, you should be up at 90%. Let's work with you to improve your business. So it gives you that benchmark and then that score and the next level up. Now, this assessment also is part of the resource packs that you can get. It's part of our course. So within our Certified Professional Business Advisor course, we go through and talk in detail about how you deliver this and how you offer it. And many of you on this call have been through that course. You need to look impressive. And I see so many advisors. And what I say to Fred is that, Fred, you need to have, nice a good cover page. I mean, it's all about you and your credibility, but you enhance your credibility, you enhance trust with the client if you haven't got, if you haven't got, rough words. You got to have good English and grammar and all those things, which are pretty fundamental. But this header page, we just got that off the Microsoft Office templates. But just have a nice document that we put that into our resource packs. But we also have put in a sample proposal that you can use. So if you go through that workbook, the client proposal, there's a sample proposal there that goes through, that talks about, this is the overview of our meeting. These are the pain points we isolated. These are the objectives of our assignment. This is what we're going to do as part of our action. And then stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. So there's a sample proposal in there, which you should just have a look at and adapt. We'll tell Fred to have a look at that, adapt it, and you've got something instantly up and running to use with your client. I can't tell you how many times I'd be sitting face to face. We might have had a conversation about what's holding them back, about where they're going. And then they'll say, well, how do we work together? I always find it good if you had, something like a document that you can pull up in that meeting with the client. You can send it to them as part of a more information pack, but how we work with clients. And first of all, it starts with a conversation about getting to know you. Let's see whether we connect and what you need. Let's chat about your dreams, what frustrates you, what has worked well for you, what's holding you back. We'll explore what you personally want out of the business, what causes you stress. But most of all, we'll give you confidence and motivate you. We work as a team. You're an expert in the business. We're an expert in the systems and processes to drive your business. Do you see what I'm doing here? I've got a presentation that's guiding my elevator pitch. Well, it's not an elevator pitch. It's sort of like an advanced pitch to close the client, and I'm trying to appeal. So I've got this little thing there. I can talk it through. So if you're an experienced advisor like I am, and many of these people in this group are, then look, you don't need to use this to articulate the words. Those words, and you can probably convert on the spot. If you're newer to advisory, these presentations are almost a guideline of how do you hit the heartstrings, how do you build emotion, how do you say the right things to move your client to the next level. And every time you show something that's really nicely presented, good marketing, what happens to your credibility? It goes up. You look professional. The more professional and prepared you are for these meetings, the more professional you look, the more trust you build. The more trust you build, the more chances that prospect will convert into a client. So that's why we spent so much money and time at the Institute. We want to build a profession that is articulate, that's able to help business owners, that looks at building business owners and helping them to hit what we think are the right areas. And this material is all part of guiding you as an advisor along the right path. We'll keep your business accountable. At the Institute of Advisors, we feel that accountability should be something that every advisor does. You should be focusing on how to build that accountability, how to help that business owner to move to the next level. We find that, in the past, far too many, whether you call yourself a consultant or an advisor, you were there for a quick solution to the client, you leave the solution, you walk away, and the client goes back down. We find it far more powerful from a client's perspective if we're there for the journey, if we're there and helping in that sort of accountability sort of process. So that's another piece of marketing material you can use that's sort of pre-laid out for you. I think you've also got to be prepared for, and I see a lot of advisors, and I'll say to Fred, look, you've really got to understand the core of how this works. So when we build methodology out, we need to be able to explain it. So when I'm with a client, and I talk about your pain points, I talk about we can work with you in the future, and we can help to grow your business and work out what frustrates you. The client's going to say, I like that. I want that, Pete. But I want to know exactly how we're going to do it. Now, that's where you pull up something like this, which is explaining to you and can be used to explain to the client that, look, we want to achieve, higher profit margins, stronger business, but this is how we're going to do it. We're going to talk about the 8-step profit improvement program. We call it the IOA. IOA stands for Institute of Advisors, the 8-step IOA growth program. So if you're a member of the Institute, you can leverage this program with your clients. And we talk about those steps. Now, in our videos and training, we go through and really deep dive on all those elements and how we actually, go through and work with the client. But essentially, if we talk about an 8-step process, that offers a client, wow, okay, so there's a methodology to this. And you'd say, yes, there is a methodology to this. And this methodology has been developed by advisors around the world. And we use best practice methodologies. And these methodologies have been used in thousands of businesses around the world. So you're articulating an 8-step program, a methodology, and the methodology is revered, and you're trained in how to deploy this methodology. Now, essentially, we deploy the methodology in 3 phases. Phase 1 is that first session, the client discovery. Phase 2 is really that roadmap forward, that business and strategic plan. In the case of a growth program and an exit program, it's slightly different. And phase 3 is always that accountability program. That I say monthly, could be quarterly, but it's an accountability program. It could be weekly if you want, but it's an accountability program. And then the 3 phases are linked to the 8 steps. So in phase 1, we're going to do steps 1 and 2. Phase 2, we're going to do 3, 4, and 5. Phase 6, 6, 7, 8, etc. So what we're doing is articulating where these particular phases are developed. So it's nice and easy. It's articulate. It's a pathway forward. It gives the client something that they're going to have a look at. Now, essentially, I'm not a believer in a canned system. Now, whilst these look like a rigid 8-step process, the reality is that they're extremely flexible and really involve anything that you come across in a business, setting goals, looking at what's holding somebody back, brainstorming on, they're very flexible, but they look like a specific pathway methodology, and they are. But they do offer a great deal of flexibility, because some of you in the group, I'm doing presentations at the moment. We're certifying advisors in Samoa. And some of the businesses in Samoa are turning over, $100,000 a year or $50,000 a year. They're handicraft businesses. Yet other advisors that we're talking to in Australia and New Zealand and the US have got a $40 million business. But funny enough, the methodologies that we've got, a business is a business is a business. All businesses should have goals. All businesses should then find out what's holding them back, look at their resource capabilities, set a plan, and move to the next level. It's basically fundamental 101 of how you build a business. And that's what our methodologies have got. But what we're trying to do is we've articulated those methodologies in such a nice presentation format that it can do nothing else but build your credibility. And the more we build your credibility as an advisor, the more successful an advisor you'll become. And those step-by-steps then go into that client business growth workbook. So this is an entire 12 months workbook. It goes through from your client discovery, to your business plan, to your monthly review. There's a whole lot of audits and assessments in this workbook, which you can download and use in your practice. If you're certified with the Institute, so if you've gone through and achieved the certification status, the Certified Professional Business Advisor status, that workbook will be in Word. You can get it from your training course, and you can put your logo inside of it as well. So you can customize it, you can customize the words. If you're a member of the Institute, you still get access to the workbook, but it's not editable for you, but it's still the same resource and can be used just as effectively. Yep. You just don't get to private label it under your name. I think that the next thing that I said to Fred is let's just think about a step-by-step program, and how do we use all these resources together. So the first thing is to go into the resource area and just have a look. And what we're trying to do is we're going to send off next week a summary of all our resources with a direct link to all of them. So it's going to make it easier. Rather than plodding around, you'll be able to see on this Word document all the resources we've got, and you'll have a direct link to it that you can go through and just download or review. So you want to start off, and if we look at a step-by-step plan, and this may be for the exit side, it could be we talk to a prospect. Then I've talked to a prospect at some sort of a networking function, and I've got their card or got some level of interest because we've practiced on that elevator pitch that we talk about practicing and practicing and practicing. I've done the good job, got them slightly interested, just in a very informal chat, nothing anywhere near becoming a client. And then I said, look, why don't I just send you a video? So I send them the video of Are You Ready to Sell? And there's 2 videos there. There's a 1.5 minute one. And there's also a 5 minute one, which is more detailed exit planning specific about what a business owner needs to do. So there's more stuff. And then what we might do is send them to our website or ask them if they want to get a free report. So what I'm doing is I'm moving that engagement from very informal to appealing to them that I am an expert. Now, what I'm saying with those videos is I'm an expert. I'm part of an international organization. We're specialists in this area. Perhaps we should talk further. And then part of the engagement is normally we charge for this report. Perhaps you might want to say, normally we charge this report, but because I know you, how about I do this assessment for free? Then you start to get to the next level. You start to get on the inner, you break them down, you look at really what's going on. And then from that psychological, you've done a lot of time, you spent a lot of time. And in sales, the more psychological weight you put on, the more you give, the more they're inclined to be obligated to, sort of give back or to go ahead. So you've committed time, you haven't charged anything. Then you want to move to the next level. So you show them, you might do a report, an assessment, and then you're going to move into that client phase. You show them your methodology. So you now look like a professional. You make sure you've got a professional report. And then and one of the things that I used to do when I was first selling business plans to business owners, and, we started selling business plans for $500, then $1,000, $2,000. And, the end of the practice, the first practice I ever built, which wasn't an ideal practice because it was face-to-face and hourly rate until we started to get the hang of moving it to a monthly review. But I used to always print out the workbook or the business plan or the guide. And we have complete exit planning workbook. We have a complete profit growth program. Sometimes it's good to print that out. I know we're new school where we don't print stuff out, but sometimes a printed out copy to show people bound just looks impressive. This is what we're going to go through. Then, I think you should establish your credibility. If you're a CPA, you put on CPA. With us, anyone that joins the Institute gets to use this logo, member of the Institute. If you're certified, you've got our Certified Professional Business Advisor logo, and that sort of sets you apart. I think you should emphasize on your website, and what we say to Fred is emphasize you're passionate. you're certified, and you're part of an international community. 3 key points. Put it on your website. You're passionate, you're certified, and you're part of an international community. And then to help you with that, we've just developed a new brochure, which I don't think any of you have seen, which why you need a certified advisor. And what we've done also is we've got a capabilities brochure. So what I'm going to suggest to you is, rather than you spend money on marketing, we've spent so much money on marketing and design, as you can see, leverage off what we've spent. So basically, you take the document on the left, which is in the resource, and you customize that for your practice. I had 20 years experience running businesses. I've had some great success in running businesses. So you put that on, you put your logo on your capabilities. That's what we call your practice or capabilities, your advisor capability brochure. Then you attach that to this brochure. And this brochure is a unlock your business potential, why you need a certified advisor today. And what we tried to do here was to split this up to say, why use a business advisor? So first of all, why would you use a business advisor? Now we're developing a second one of this for members, which hasn't got the certification, which just sticks to why use a certified advisor. So it'll be a 2-page brochure. If you've gone through and got our certification course, you would use this brochure. And this brochure talks about, hey, you need to have an advisor because of this. And by the way, our firm has achieved the CPBA, Certified Professional Business Advisor credential. These are some of the solutions that advisors provide. So expertise, strategic planning, objectivity, accountability. And then this last page is why specifically hire a certified advisor. Now, I want you to read this. If you're certified or you think you're getting certified, just read that. Look how credible it looks. That's some of your elevator pitch of what works, what we think would work as a conversation you have with a client. So that's in the resource packs. This is brand new as well. So Annie got this hot off the press a couple of days ago. We're developing material all the time, as you can see. This one here is for those, which is going to be just about all of you. We've got a member version of this and a certified member version of this. We've also finally starting to get the point. We've got a woman on the front cover. You can have that version, or you can have a man, but we are looking at all our brochures and just we want to get the first lot out, get the range up, and then come back and make sure it's inclusive to where you are in which region of the world. There are obviously some segmentation differences, whether we're in Samoa, Ghana, in the UK, US or Australia. But anyhow, why is this a good brochure? This is when you talk about the profit improvement program, you need a more information kit. This is a great more information kit. So to give you an idea, this is the 8-step IOA growth program. Our firm is a proud member. So this is the member version of the Institute of Advisors, and this is our 8-step program. So if you're not certified, you'd use this one. But we also have this one here. It's the same brochure. This is a particular one with the man on the front cover, but there's one with a woman on the front cover as well. And this one says, our firm has achieved the CPBA credential. So it's far more powerful as a marketing piece. For those that are, in exit planning, that's a pedigree background of ours to be, that exit planning. We've got a 7-step exit planning program. We've got a complete workbook on exit planning. Same thing, building that credibility. This is interesting as well. So this is a seminar. I'll just move that over there. This is a Word document. So often you're putting on seminars or webinars. We want to create something that you could easily do. So say you're having a topic on how to improve profit. This is an invite you can use. So it's a PowerPoint document. It's designed up. You can edit it instantly here in PowerPoint, save it as a PDF, and you've got an instant presentation that you can use, which is something that can work for you. Of course, as part of the Institute, we've got all the videos of every recording we've ever done and development, etc. So the place to go, if you want to have a look at all the videos, and I didn't put it in here, but www.instituteadvisors.com/membership. If you scroll down on that page, even if you're certified and you want to just have a look at those videos straight after the presentation, we'll send it to you. So, www.instituteadvisors.com/membership. You'll see if you go to that page, we've got the videos all on that page. So that's our membership sign-up form. But on that page itself, we've got the videos. So you can have a look. You can play each of those 4 videos that we've got. There are more videos coming. There's more resources coming, more brochures coming. We're moving into, if you like, the next phase, which is the engagement side. We're expanding out the resources. So that's, if you like, a 7-day program. Why is it a 7-day program? Because 7 days sounds good, but if you've got access, anybody can access those resources. Hey, you got 5 days next week, update your website, start using some of this material, and I'm sure it's going to improve your credibility, etc.